Hello and welcome back to another video. In this video I'm going to be talking about transfer plans for game week 25, which is an absolute nightmare now. We've got the League Cup final this week, so we've got 4 teams blanking. We've got the FA Cup next week, so whatever transfers we make now might not be working out in the future, so we don't even know who's playing in game week 28 yet until after the FA Cup round's finished. And then the Premier League decided to throw out a load of double game weeks for game week 29. So if you're thinking about wildcard and free hitting this week, I wouldn't bother. I'd definitely wait till around about 28, 29 before making any of those decisions. So there's so much to think about right now. So many different options, but let's get into who I'm suggesting we buy for game week 25. Right then, so the first player I've got up here is Mo Salah, Liverpool. Now this is somebody I had, I'm sure most people had at the start of the season, and since I've taken him out of my team, I've not really looked back at him since. He's just been average since. He's not been great. He's not somebody I've really wanted to bring back into my team. Reason why I wanted him in my team now, well, not wanting my team, the reason why I'm thinking about putting him into my team right now is just for the fact that I own Kevin De Bruyne, and obviously he's not exactly setting the world alight, but it's the fact that De Bruyne, he didn't play tonight in Champions League. He's apparently ill, so whether or not he'll be fit for the Bournemouth game on Saturday is another thing. So do I really want to risk De Bruyne not playing against Bournemouth away when I can bring in Mo Salah, who's got a double game week? He's got Crystal Palace away. Yes, that's a tough place to go at Selhurst Park, but still. And then he's got Wolves at home, and yes, Wolves did beat them 3-0, but surely Liverpool might be looking out for some revenge. And there's also the fact that in the last 2 Premier League games, he got an assist against Everton and a goal against Newcastle. And not only that, he did score in that game against Real Madrid the other night, where he got absolutely thrashed. So he has been getting goals and assists, so there is that to consider. And obviously then you got the game week 28 fixture. Liverpool, obviously, they're out of the FA Cup, so they're raring to go for game week 28. It's just a case of whether Fulham will qualify. If they don't, if they get beat by Leeds, and there's a good chance that they could get beat by Leeds, then game week 28, Liverpool could also have a fixture. So there is that. Obviously, so far there's a lot of teams that look like they could blank in that week. So if, say, Leeds do win, that will be an added bonus as well as. So there's all that to factor into that. So I don't think Man City will get a game 28. I think they're going to qualify in the FA Cup. They are going to go through. So there's another factor there as well. So that's why I'm definitely looking at bringing possibly Mo Salah into my team. Right then, so next up on here, I've got Alex Iwobi of Everton. Not somebody I'd really recommend you buying, if I'm being honest, because he doesn't exactly set the world alight, let's face it. But if you've got, let's say, an Almiron in your team, why not just do a straight swap for Alex Iwobi? They're similar price. Obviously, Almiron is going to be blanking in game week 25, so you're not going to get anything out of him. So you may as well bring in Alex Iwobi, who has actually got a double game week in 25. Villa at home, which I do think Everton have a really good chance of winning in that game. Obviously, they got Arsenal away in the next game, but you know, they did beat Arsenal 1-0 at Goodison. So, I mean, I doubt it's going to happen again, but you never know. Maybe Iwobi wants to score against his old team. Like I said, though, he doesn't exactly set the world alight. He's only got 2 assists since the return of the World Cup, which isn't great. But he is a 90-minute man, so let's say even if it's a 0-0 draw against Villa, you're guaranteed 3 points there. And if they do lose to Arsenal, it's still 2 points, so that's 5 points. So you're 5 points better off having Alex Iwobi than having Almiron on your bench, or not even on your bench. You could be in your team, you just leave him in there. So yeah, there is that. Now game week 28, they've got Chelsea. That is a fixture that will be taking place because Everton, they're not in the FA Cup either, so neither are Chelsea. So you've also got that. So you've got a double in 25. They've got Forest in 26, which is a decent fixture for him. Brentford at home in 27, which isn't the easiest fixture. They've got Chelsea in 28. So they've got a run of fixtures. That's the positive thing. And obviously Alex Iwobi, he is a 90-minute man. He is going to play pretty much every minute of every game here. So he's definitely an option. He's not going to set the world alight with goals and assists, but he's somebody who's definitely going to play. And who knows, he might actually get an assist. A goal, we'd be very lucky, but you never know with the assists. So my final option is Chunder of Wolves. Now, This is a player I wouldn't really ever recommend, if I'm being honest. He's not exactly set the world alight since he joined Wolves, but you never know, these next few fixtures he could, so I could talk about a bit more in the future, we'll have to see. But the reason why I think you should really look at him is if you're thinking about having a freemium and you need to free up some money to bring in the third freemium, then Chunda, he's only 5.5 million. So if you want to get rid of, let's say, a Harry Kane or a Tony or somebody around those price ranges to get a few extra million, he'll be a good buy, as he's got the double game week in 25. So he's got Fulham away, who could see so many chances, and he's got Liverpool away, who also can see so many chances, and Wolves did beat them 3-0 at Molineux. So those are two decent fixtures for Wolves, to be fair. Then you look at game week 28, where they could probably blank. Wolves are out of the FA Cup, so you're just really waiting for that Leeds fixture against Fulham. So obviously Fulham, who on paper look better than Leeds, beat Leeds, then Wolves will be playing in 28 as well. So you'll have a good run of fixtures with no blanks to look at. So there's also a positive. Obviously there's a few negatives with him though. So yes, he starts every game for Wolves since he's joined, but he's actually only gone past the 60-minute mark twice, and he has yet to see the 70-minute mark yet. So he's not on the pitch for long, which might also explain the second negative. He's not scored or assisted yet since he joined Wolves. So there's a couple of cons, but he is only 4.5. He's 5.5 million, so he is still cheap. So he might be worth a little punt if you want to go for that, if you're thinking about doing a freemium. So that's why I'd probably recommend Chunda if you're going for a freemium and you want to downgrade a striker. I definitely recommend this guy. Right, so let's look at players we should really think about getting rid of in our teams now. First player I've got on here is Nathan Ake of Man City. I've got Ake on here just because I personally own him, but what it should really say is any Man City defender. Akanji, Ake, Diaz, Laporte, whoever plays in that back line for Man City, because Pep just keeps changing it. You ain't got a clue who's going to start, and if you're lucky and you've not got many players out this weekend, you could take a Man City defender out, then definitely do it, because it's not worth the headache. Yes, Man City got Bournemouth away, which on paper looks like an easy fixture, but you haven't got a clue if he's going to start or who's going to start. It's a nightmare. Ake, he did play in the Champions League game last night. Will he play at the weekend? Honestly, because he played in the Champions League, I don't think he's going to play in the league game. So that's really why I'm definitely recommending to any of you out there to definitely sell Nathan Ake, or any Man City defender for that matter. Right, so next up on the chopping block is Mitrovic of Fulham. Now, obviously, he's been sensational this season. Absolutely brilliant. You can't really fault him, but now is the time to get rid of him if you've got him. If you're that 21% own him, I definitely recommend to you all now to sell him. I've done it. It should be time you do it now. He didn't play in the last game against Brighton. He was injured. Silva's since come out and said he's probably not going to play against Wolves. Obviously, it's a Friday night game, so we'll get some team news before the deadline to find out more if you're unsure. But even after the Wolves game, they've got Brentford, Arsenal and Liverpool. That's 3 tough fixtures. There's no double game weeks coming up for Fulham either, so you've got balance. And obviously, if they do go through in the FA Cup, that Liverpool game is going to be blank anyway, so it'll be Brentford, Arsenal, then a blank. That's not great. If you want Mitrovic, I'd sell him now and then bring him back in 29. Now, obviously, if you are thinking about keeping him, just bear in mind he hasn't scored in the last 6 games. Obviously, one, he wasn't playing because he was injured, so the last 5 games he hasn't played. So maybe it is time now to get rid of him, because he might be on a little goalless streak now. So you got 6.8 million. You can get a cheaper striker, bring in a more expensive midfielder or better defender, or you can just get something like an Antonio maybe. So there's other options out there. So obviously Antonio's got Forest at home in 25, so that would be a good little swap if you want to do that. So yeah, definitely now is the time to get rid of Mitrovic. Right then, so my final player on here is Ivan Toney of Brentford. Now, I own Ivan Toney, and I'm saying it now, do not sell him. And if you are selling him, buy him back in game week 26. Why? The guy's an unbelievable striker. More importantly, he's got a double in 27 and a double in 29. And this guy isn't afraid to score against anybody. So It doesn't matter who he's against, he'll probably have a good chance of scoring. Obviously, he didn't score in the last game, but he did score against Arsenal, so point proven there. And even then, he's got Fulham at home after the blank, Everton, Southampton, Leicester, Brighton, and Man United. Definitely 100% leave him on your bench or do a 1 week punt, take him out, bring him back in straight away. Because I've got a feeling he could do some great things in the coming weeks. Yes, he's blanking this week, but if you got a Fernandez, you got Luke Shaw, you got Almiron, anybody else, Matoma, get rid of those guys instead and keep Tony on your bench because I think he's going to do some good things in the coming weeks. That's why I'm leaving him on my bench, and I think you guys should too. I mean, I could be wrong, but that's what I'm going to do anyway. I'm going to leave him on my bench because I reckon there's a good chance he'll score against Fulham and Everton and Southampton. I can see him scoring against Leicester and also Brighton, and I can even see him scoring against Man United. So, I mean, fingers crossed that all works out because then I'll be on a haul of points for the next few weeks. So, yeah, definitely 100% recommending now. Leave Tony in your team. Yes, he's blanking, but it's not worth losing out on those goals because I think there's going to be goals, and to have 2 dual game weeks in the space of a couple of weeks, you can't ignore that. And there you have it. Those are some of my ideas for game week 25. Obviously, it's a pain of a week. The FA Cup is the biggest ball ache out of it all. If only it was before game week 25, that would make life so much easier. But unfortunately, that's not the case, and we're going to have to gamble, let's face it. But anyway, I hope you like that video. Please don't forget to subscribe, and I'll see you all on the next one.